Hi, Jen with Astro Astrology here. Today we are talking about the full moon happening next week in the sign of Scorpio on the 23rd of April. So, building up to that, we start tomorrow off with the sun moving into Taurus. So, kind of slows things down a little bit, but we have a lot going on before we really start to feel that Taurus-y effect. So you would think that impulsiveness, that discomfort, that frustration of being inactive, that feeling of being overwhelmed, maybe exhausted, that feelings that are brought on by that Mars-Saturn conjunction might still be really getting to you, might still be really bothering you. I know it's bothering a lot of people that I've spoken to, and I know it's still getting to me quite a bit. Because around you, you see like this fiery passion going on with, seems like everybody else, where you're feeling that defeat, that kind of like sadness, that loneliness. But you see this rage going on all around the world. And it's making us feel a little bit alone in our thoughts. Maybe we're overthinking things, we're unsure, we're confused. How do we pull ourselves out of this funk? We have this sun moving into Taurus, that slower, earthy, fixed energy, again, is not coming right away. We have a lot to work through the end of this month before we can really get out and get down to the earth and do those Taurus-y, therapeutic, Venusian type things that can really help our mentality, help us to kind of, feel a little bit better. I did jump the gun, I hate to say. This weekend, I went out digging. I went raking up my front yard, trying to get all the rocks out of it, pulling up rocks, raking up the dirt. That Aries, Mars, that Aries mentality with that Mars and Saturn, of course, caused me to overdo it. And it put me in my place. I'll tell you, it really did. It put a stop to it because I woke up that night. And first it started raining, so I had to stop. So, okay, there's Saturn. Okay, Saturn in Pisces. No, I'm going to rain on your parade. You're done. So I stopped, but I woke up at 1 o'clock in the morning with chest pains. I wasn't able to breathe. Just that Mars, Saturn trying to do something, trying to, survive, live. But that Saturn constrictive in Pisces, I was unsure of what was happening. I was scared. It was really terrifying. I didn't know what to do. So I called my doctor. He sent me right to the ER. He said, go ASAP. So 4 hours later, in the emergency room, test after test showed, of course, that I wasn't having a heart attack, but I had pulled muscles from overdoing it. So there's that Mars and Saturn trying to stop me. And then I had extreme stress and anxiety, and that's that Jupiter-Uranus kind of peaking out. And I felt this stress, I felt this anxiety, but I didn't know how bad it was bothering me. So if you're feeling that sort of way, you're going to get through it. You just got to push through it and know it's might not be you, it might be everybody around you that are going through the same things. So Mars and Saturn in Pisces, what are we fighting against? So, are we fighting against trying to get things done in the yard, or what are we fighting against? Well, that Jupiter-Uranus, we're about to find out, because that's going to hit us like a wake-up call. It's going to be like, slap you in the face. It's going to be, what it really reminds me of is, when you're watching those cop shows, and the cop just, he's interrogating someone, he slaps down that picture in front of the, in front of the person, and he is the evidence shocking them, and they're like, whoa. And so that's kind of what it is. It's kind of that slap down, face this is what you're looking at, and this is what you're going to deal with, because that is kind of the mentality of what's going to be going on with that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. It's like slap, wake up, get your mind going, and you need to face what you don't want to face. And I know that this picture that I'm slapping down in front of you, or whatever's in your psyche, might be difficult for you to just grasp and just like, I don't want to look at it, I don't want to think about it, I can't do it anymore, I just need to push it down deep. Well, you know what? Scorpio ain't having that. Scorpio gets down deep. Scorpio exposes that. So expect to really just start feeling those feelings, start feeling those Scorpio emotions. We're forced to look at what we don't want to see because, you know, some of these things, once you see it, you're going to have to deal with it. It's like, okay, you know, say you have something that's bothering you, maybe a spouse that you think is being a little shady, maybe you have somebody at work that's, you know, talking crap behind your back. Well, once you acknowledge it, you have to face it and you have to do something about it. So either you choose to ignore it or you choose to face it. Well, with this Scorpio full moon, we're not ignoring it anymore. We are forced to face it. That Mercury retrograde that also is going on, don't forget, that's raking just back and forth over our Chiron, exposing our weaknesses, drawing up those old wounds, pulling them back up, and just like, that's what's kind of giving us that feeling of just, I'm just tired, I'm defeated, I just feel like I just don't want to go on, things just aren't fun to me anymore. But again, we're going to get through it. So, funny thing that this could even mean in such just a simple way. Someone I haven't seen in over 20 years posted a picture of me on Facebook from the 8th grade. So it brought back that, I don't know if you were hip and cool in the 8th grade. Well, I was not. I could not figure out how to do my hair. So it's that uncomfortable memory of just that awkwardness, that bad hair, that maybe not feeling like you fit in. That's that coming of age. And it could be as gentle as that, but it could be something extremely painful that is bringing back from the past that you're forced to look at. I was forced to look at that hideous picture of me yet again that somebody feels like they have to put up there. And, you know, I didn't want to, I scratched all my yearbooks. I cut it out. Like anybody's that I would sign, I'd sign over it. But this person still had it. And of course they need to spread all over Facebook. Anyway, so this is what this full moon is all about. It's about, this is our first lunation now after that turbulent eclipse season, but this lunation is not going to be low key by any means. So you have to know that, yeah, we might be out of eclipse season, but we're not out of, you know, we're not out of that extreme kind of feelings, those feelings being brought up, that just turbulence, that uneasiness that's going on all around the world. That's coming up. That's still to come. You know, we have the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. I know a lot of astrologers out there are, it's innovation, revelations, and all these new things, and everything's going to be great because it's got, you know, Jupiter with it. And I agree, that could be the case, but I think that because of everything that's happening around it, it's not going to be quite so, you know, coming up roses, great, you know, new inventions that are going to save the world. I think it's going to be a lot tougher than that and a lot rougher than that. And I think that Uranus shock and awe is going to be a little bit harder to deal with the Jupiter emphasizing that instead of it being so just nice and flowy and easygoing and happy and like, let's change the world for the better. Because I think that is actually going to take time. And I don't think it's going to come that fast. So, you know, because this is, we are moving in Taurus season, so things are going to slow down and we're going to have to kind of wrap our heads around what is going on in the world. So the full moon in Scorpio is at 4 degrees Scorpio, 18 minutes, so definitely get your charts up. What do you have in the fixed signs around the early fixed signs like that? You know, the 2 to 6 degrees area about, you know, this is that, you know, Scorpio, watery, transformative, adaptable, but fixed signs can also be rigid, compulsive, you know, how those Scorpio, and obsessive, vindictive. So this is drawing things back from the past. Don't forget, how are you going to face it? Are you going to face it with a vengefulness, like this picture that's put up of me? Am I going to then put up a horrible picture of him? No, I know he didn't do it to be a jerk or just say like, oh, look how hideous Jen used to be. he did it out of fun and be like, oh, hey guys, this is, our graduating class. So it was all done in fun, I know. So you have to kind of look at how you're going to handle this stuff, and maybe, try to see how you're going to deal with the things that might be coming and bubbling up for you, how extreme they might be and how you might deal with it. Because it might not be as simple as just that, and who knows what else I have coming up. It could be more than that. I hope not. That would be nice to just have that. So, and just to make things just that much more intense, this full moon is in a T-square with Pluto. So, what is T-square? So a T-square is, so we have the opposition between the sun and moon, which is the full moon, because they're in opposition. Well, then coming out like a T, so we have the opposition here, coming out like a T, down here we have Pluto. So that's going to make things a little more fun, and I say fun in a very sarcastic kind of way. So personally, you may be feeling insecure, jealous, betrayed, distrustful. Something is coming to a head, and you know that you're going to have to make a choice. There's going to be like that epiphany, because that is the Jupiter, Uranus. That epiphany is going to come up, and how are you going to deal with it is how you are going to pretty much rise again. That Pluto, Scorpio, we got Scorpio squaring Pluto. That is that death and rebirth. It's very that new worldy, that new reset, new, just like it is, death and rebirth, like the death card, pulling the death card in tarot. You see that. If you're not familiar with tarot, you automatically get scared and you're like, death card, that's terrifying. No, it's about change. And this is about inevitable change that is going to transform you as a person if you so go along with it. Like, again, I always tell you guys, you have to put in the work. So it's just not going to just happen. It's not just going to be like, oh, you're going to be transformed into this, person with no worries, no nothing. You have to put in the work to deal with what is coming up. And I've said this many times in the past, but this is kind of where everything comes to a head. So the Scorpio passion is that it makes it stronger. It's your deepest emotions. Okay, Scorpio, they are that emotional, watery sign, but it's a different kind of emotion. It's that kind of more, that vengeful, I'm going to hold things deep, I'm not going to say anything, I'm not going to go crying and just being all upset, but I'm going to hold this in, and maybe in the future I'll use it against you. So that's kind of that Scorpio kind of mentality. It's not quite the, Pisces, cry, kind of run to a mother's little helper, or a Cancer, kind of that, that emotional. It's a different kind of emotion, and it comes out in a different way. So, in the short cycle of this lunation, this is coming off the solar eclipse in Aries, which is the new moon, where we felt like maybe we were stripped down. We're left standing there naked with all of our weaknesses, our pain is on display. Everything is just like, we feel like we're not hiding anything, like everything just shows. And I know I have felt that just with what was going on with me, with my stress and my anxiety that I've been going through lately. I feel like everyone can just see it. Everyone can just see that I'm not quite right now. And, and this is happening on a global scale as well, where, like I said in a prior video, the country's weaknesses are starting to show up. You're seeing weaknesses come up, and people are taking advantage of those weaknesses. So that's kind of scary right there. So you don't know how people are going to react to what is bothering you. So you need to kind of try and stay as strong as you can and work through this on your own, so that it doesn't just come back to haunt you and someone doesn't use it against you. This is an all or nothing type of, okay, this is my cat's butt. I'm going to try and turn him around here and put him down. So this is all or nothing. We don't have a choice here. This is going to be, again, that cop slapping that picture in front of us. Look at that. And you don't have a choice but to look at it. And this is that Jupiter Uranus, that in Taurus, that cattle prodding to prod you along. Whether I know you want to take it easy, I know you don't want to move, you're tired, you're kind of lazy, you're not feeling like you want to do anything, but it's prodding you along. And how you deal with it is how it transforms your future, Pluto. So you either survive and rise from the ashes, a better person, or you smolder and you burn out. And none of us want to burn out. We want to, we want our fires fanned. We want somebody to get it going and blow on our fire so it just thrives and grows and becomes, that bigger inner fire. We don't want our inner fire to go out. So we have to, cultivate that. What are we forced to know? What we see is, again, something we cannot know, we cannot unsee. So this could be on a personal scale where we see something within ourselves that we must face. It could be on a personal scale with a loved one, a friend, a spouse, a mate of some sort, or we could even see it on a bigger scale, maybe somebody in government, maybe somebody that is a celebrity. Maybe we see things in a different light, the way we didn't see it, and then you can't unsee it, and you have to just okay, so now that I know this about this person, what am I going to do about it? Because I can't just go and ignore it. So these are the choices we're going to have to make. So we have to make that choice to actively release those toxic habits, people, things, or even those toxic morals that might be holding us back. Those, are the things that we worship, those, people, things that we might worship, that we might have to let go of because we find out that maybe it wasn't all it was cracked up to be. So the T-square, that is, the choice. To start over, fresh, healed, ready to move forward. When that Mercury goes direct, that happens on the 25th. So that's 2 days after this full moon. So 2 days later, it moves forward again. So it's gonna, go right back over Chiron. That's gonna be really nice. But in Aries now, it's gonna move forward, but it's gonna go slow, slow, slow. So we're gonna put these lessons. Okay, what did we learn? We're going to put them into action. We're ready to face this world again that is changing around us, that is about to go through a huge reset. I know you are seeing it. Maybe it's not affecting you in your country, in your city, in your state in particular, but you see things going on around the world that are these huge things. There are people that are threatening to wipe out whole nations, that are saying they want a whole people, a genocide, and it's really terrifying on either side of it. So this is this huge reset we might go through. Are we going to lose a certain type of human being? Are we going to lose ourselves? What? Are we going to go to a civil war because we can't agree? What's going to happen, and how are we going to deal with it, and how are we going to move forward after? So it has been, guys, a long, hard few months for all of us. Look at where you were with this fuller cycle, the longer cycle, with the new moon in Scorpio that happened back on November 13th. This is when this whole Scorpio moon cycle first started. So what changes, what forced responsibilities have you been dealing with? What have you had to do? What have you had to work through? What emotions have you been dealing with? Maybe depression, changes in your life that you've been forced to deal with, that maybe you've been kind of, putting back and not wanting to deal with, but now it's coming to a head and now you have to. Because when it comes to a head, then as we wane down to the next cycle, this is how we're going to learn and grow and teach how we work through it so we can help maybe somebody else, especially with that Chiron in there. How are we going to use the pain that we've been through, the weakness that we've been through? How What strength have we gained that we can help others that are feeling weak, that are feeling in pain, that are feeling defeated? So that's that Chiron helping others for maybe something that you can't help within themselves. Maybe for me, if it's that stupid picture that came up, maybe it's I teach others that, okay, maybe 80s hair wasn't so great, even though I keep saying how great the 80s was, but, straight hair sometimes is a little bit easier to deal with. So, anyway, I know, you guys, we've felt tired, we felt defeated, we are in this together. So, we feel like that maybe we don't have that lust for love. We don't have that lust for life to get out there and have fun. People around me have said the same thing. People that I work with, their head's just not in the game. But you gotta be strong. We're on that precipice. We are, at that 10 of Swords. So again, that tarot reference, that 10 of Swords where you are just laying down, stabbed in the back, completely defeated. You feel like people have turned on you. You feel like, untrusting, but this is the end of it. This is coming to the end, and we're going to move on. We're going to, get over that hump. That 10 of Swords, when you get that card, it might look terrifying because you see that person just laying there with 10 swords in his back, but that's the end. That's the final defeat, and now you're going to be able to move forward with those lessons, with those that sword, that mental clarity that we just lay down, and we just use what we've learned to move ahead. So how are we going to put this to work? How are we going to face our demons? Force yourself to deal with it. See it clearly. Open your eyes. Again, we are in this together, guys. Please tell a friend to check in with the channel, to maybe follow if they are struggling and they can see maybe it's not them, maybe it is in the stars. Help them to get up their chart. If you give them my website, I can help them and get their chart for them. And maybe, if they have a couple questions, I can help with that. astrotastrology@gmail.com. So please subscribe. Get notified, because I'm going to be coming out with a lot more helping videos, and we're going to kind of vary it up a little bit coming up. And you just all got to be strong out there. So I will see y'all soon. Peace.